Upanagar Shikshan Mandal's Kamla Raheja Vidyanidhi Institute for Architecture and Environmental Studies is a premier architecture school based in Mumbai. The institute started functioning in 1992 by offering 5-year Bachelor of Architecture degree programs. Since its early days, the institute has fostered a culture of ideating and exploring architectural paradigms, leading to systematic inquiries of the city as a laboratory. The institute, with the objective of promoting active research in the fields of architecture, art, technology, humanities, and urban studies, has been conducting the KRVIA Fellowship Program since the year 1998 and is one of the oldest fellowship programs in the city. The research endeavors within the city has emphasized on various urban issues, especially housing, informality, marginalization, infrastructure, historicity, and ecology. Endeavors like these subsequently led to the formulation of 2 years Masters of Architecture program in Urban Design and Urban Conservation in the year 2007. KRVIA believes in collaborative work with professionals, scholars from diverse fields, and also with various institutions and universities across the world, facilitating urban research work.
A very good evening to all. We are all gathered to celebrate the convocation ceremony of graduating batch of 2021. I, Kimaya Kiruskar, an assistant professor at KRVIA, take this opportunity to welcome the dignitaries, members of Upanagar Shikshan Mandal, members of the Governing Council, members of the College Development Committee, members of the Academic Council, parents, faculty, staff, graduates, students, and esteemed guests. Dear graduates, it is through your determination, passion, and talent, backed with sheer grueling hard work, that you are seated here, ready to make a difference in the professional world as well as in the life of the people you will associate with. You have overcome many challenges, obstacles, and hardships through rigor, vigor, and confidence using the skills and capacities learnt over the period of 5 years. You are about to embark on a journey with new possibilities and opportunities coming your way, and I'm sure you will accept them with the same confidence and determination. On this day of completing your graduation, on behalf of USM's KRVIA, I take this opportunity to congratulate every one of you and your family. Wish you all the very best in all your future endeavors. Without taking much ado, I would now like to invite our director, Mr. Manoj Parmar, to present the achievements and accomplishments of KRVIA for the academic year 2021. Requesting Manoj to address the audience.
Thanks, Kimaya. A very good evening to all and everyone. On behalf of Upanagar Shikshan Mandal's KRVI, I warmly welcome members of Governing Council, members of College Development Committee, members of Academic Council, KRVI faculties, administration, graduating and current students, and very importantly, our chief guest, Professor Rabindra Vasavda, who has been patron of KRVI since 1992. It is my first address on occasion of celebrating KRVI annuals constituting KRMLS, thesis colloquium, urban dialogue, and most importantly, convocation ceremony. This year, we have made an attempt to combine all the events together and make it one singular entity. And we hope to move all these events in a physical space next year. Before I begin with sharing report on institutes during academic session of the year 2021, I like to extend my sincere thanks to Upanagar Shikshan Mandal Chairman, members of Governing Council, Chairman of the College Development Committee, for extending their support and trust towards every endeavor in making KRVIA an important center for architecture and urban knowledge. The report and achievement would be incomplete without unwavering support from faculties and administration. The challenging time during pandemic has not dampened the spirit of learning and teaching. KRVI continues to engage with central focus on academics and research on unfolding realities and emerging architectural and urban pedagogy. In today's time, KRVI architectural and urban inquiries are seeking larger questions and attempting to resonate key issues of our socio-cultural questions, climate change, and resilience learning. The question of form is a response to key issues that I've stated, and I hope to move on to the path of addressing and resonating the pulses of unfolding realities of our time. As an outcome of continuous engagement, as I've stated earlier, I would like to inform you all that we have worked on KRMLS theme for next 3 years, revolving around key issues. And as a part of same endeavor, we invited Professor Charles Wolfe for his recent book publication, Sustaining City Culture and Character. He is an important author and researcher in the areas of architecture and urbanism, and has published several books on similar concern. On other side of our regular academics, we have expanded architectural concern in the direction of region and geography, so as to enhance geo-socio-cultural dimension of region in our academics. The studios and theories are constantly in tandem with localized concern and global imperatives, and we desire to continue with the direction and articulation of the same for coming years. Along with academic endeavors, KRVI presence of students and faculties at various forum outside the institute continues. To begin with, I would like to state Suruchi Didolkar, a March student of urban design, wins NIASA Best Thesis Award for her research in exploring everyday urbanism and cultural territories. NIASA Award is initiated by Council of Architecture, and all the postgraduate institute students participate in this contest. KRVI BR students wins the Asian Contest of Architectural Rookies Award in 2021. The contest is open to architectural students at undergraduate level enrolled in universities in Asian countries and region. The gold medals were awarded to Anushri Joshi for semester 4 of 6th project City Link Kochi. Ambika Lamba, a semester 4 project recalibrating the vernacular in Meghalaya. KRVI Master Alumnus Anubhav Borgohen dissertation paper Sacred Spaces and Electronics Places has been selected for PhD and Master's Roundtable presentation and listed as one of the 3 finalists for the Best Paper Award in Vienna, conducted by ICOMOS in Austria. Dev Desai, the graduated students of 2020 has been selected for Norman Foster Foundation Fellowship Program. The Norman Foster Foundation provides workshop scholarship to students from all over the world. This is a very prestigious award and we take pride in it. KRVI Alumnus Batch 2019, Dhwani Mehta has won the first prize in Asian College Graduation Design Exhibition Contest for her thesis project, Architecture of Seva. This was held by Guangdong University as a part of their architectural and environmental exhibition. Faculties continues to work towards their concern, their interest in architecture and urbanism in various ways. This includes practice, research, writing, and various participation in conferences. Shantanu Poredi, the Dean of Academics, and Manisha Agarwal, who is a visiting faculty, receives Architect of the Year Award for School of Planning and Architecture, Vijayawada, and Tata Mist Housing, Kasoli. They have completed this project. It's a very prestigious project and much talked about project in architectural fraternity. KRVIA has recently completed EU-funded project BRUCOM. KRVIA faculty Dr. Binti Singh and myself have authored a book based on titled Resilience in Southern Urbanism, which is published globally on 10th January. The book also has a chapter contribution from KRVI faculties Jamshid Bhiwandiwala, Vikram Pawar, and Sandeep Menon. And lastly, I take this opportunity to announce KRVI MOOC, which is massive open online courses based on skills and newer knowledge. The KRVI MOOC attempts to disseminate knowledge and skill based on research areas that KRVI has engaged, as well as faculties whose interest lies beyond the curriculum and wishes to explore the newer domain of knowledge. KRVI MOOC shall be an important platform to bridge the build and new network for knowledge sharing in India and across the world. I take this opportunity to thank you everyone and very best wishes to the graduate students for the coming years. I hand it over to Kemaya Keluskar for the further proceeding. Thank you.
Thank you. I now request Mr. S.N. Kabra, Chairman of Governing Council, to inaugurate the MOOC and say a few words. Sir, kindly unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy to inaugurate, open out this Convocation 22 for KRVIA, which is being held virtual manner. Thank you.
Hello and good morning. KRVIA has always been at the forefront of academic discourses around architecture and urbanism. The idea of KRVI MOOC is to extend those conversations beyond the student body and the faculty and make courses available to the general public. The first set of courses on KRVI MOOC will be available free of cost, with registration through the portal being the only criteria for participation. Subsequent courses will be available free of cost or for a nominal fee.
Four main types of courses are offered under MOOC. The first are regular lectures, which are conducted by KRVIA faculty and they are meant for the general audience. The second are training programs, which are conducted by KRVIA faculty or researchers and they are meant for a specific group of professionals only. The third are special courses conducted by invited experts for a general audience. And the fourth is a curated lecture series which is organized by KRVIA and conducted by external conductors as part of various outreach programs at KRVIA, such as Encounters or the KRMLS for general audiences. KRVIA MOOC will offer both interactive and non-interactive courses on its platform.
On the KRVI website, KRVI MOOC can be found under the Programs tab. On the landing page, you can see a list of all the courses that are offered by the Institute at the time. One can easily look at detailed information about each course by clicking on the names of the courses themselves.
Once you're in the tab, you can see the description of the course, you can read the course outcomes, you can see the categories under which the courses are curated, you can see what target audience the course is meant for, and then there are topics for the particular course in which there are brief descriptions for each topic covered.
In order to access the course, one must enroll using the Enroll Now button. Upon successful registration, one can start the course by clicking on the Start Course button.
Now, once you start the course, the video lectures for each topic will appear. You can play the video lecture.
Hello and welcome to this elective that is called Making Meaning, Mediums and Messages, Representation, Politics and Practice. This is a series of lectures to unpack the relationship. It was not trying to answer any major questions. It was only trying to sketch out the contours of these questions.
There's also a dedicated Q&A section for a discussion after the lecture. The MOOC page also offers a dashboard where a participant can see the courses that they have enrolled for, their progress in each of the courses, as well as any other information that the course instructors might want to relay to them.
Further, if you would like to share comments, views, feedback about the courses, you can always write to us using this tab. You can also suggest the kind of courses that you would be interested in, and then we can look into our resources and try to possibly curate them in the future. Okay. Thanks a lot for your participation.
Hello and good morning. KRVIA has always been at the forefront of academic discourses around architecture and urbanism.
Thank you, Mr. Kabra, for inaugurating it. I now request Mr. Sanjeev Mantri, Chairman of Upanagar Shikshan Mandal, to say a few words.
Kimai, we've just received a message that Mr. Mantri is still in his meeting downstairs and he's unable to come here, but he has sent his best wishes to all the graduating students.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mamta. So we shall now proceed further. Students at the bachelor's and the master's level wait eagerly for this part of the program, where their ideas, hard work and talent is acknowledged by the institution. We now proceed to the award distribution ceremony. I would like to invite Mr. S.N. Kabra, Chairman of Governing Council, to begin with the distribution of the awards in the category of Overall Academic Performance and Design Studio for the Master's Program. Requesting Mr. Kabra. I think there is some technical error. So I shall just proceed to the next category and we shall revisit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I would now request Mr. Akshay Raheja to announce the best performance in the Bachelor's Design Studios for which, who is a member of the Governing and the Academic Council. Requesting Mr. Raheja.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. For the first year, first rank, Lagu Sanika Santosh Harshada. Second, Pantangi Shreya Krishna Babita. Second year, Lamba Ambika Harsh Abha. Second, Kelshikar Arushi Manish Rupali. Third year, first, Joshi Anushri Milind Mansi. Second, Thakekekara Diya Bijoy Chitra. Fourth year, first, Jain Vaibhav Uttam Vinita. And second, Shah Janami Vivash Jagruti. Congratulations to all.
Thank you, Mr. Raheja. I now request Dr. Satish Moth, Chairman of the College Development Committee, to mention the citations for the undergraduate design dissertation thesis. Requesting Dr. Moth.
Citations are for Anuja Jain, Asmita Patnaik, Ishita Kohli, Jay Nayak, Rajvi Anand Para, Rashmi Verma, Salvi Shah, and Sumit Jadhav. Congratulations to all of them.
Thank you, Dr. Moth. Mamta, could you just help us? Is Mr. Kabra back as well as Mr. Sanjeev Mantri? Yes,
I'm back.
Yeah. I would now like to invite Mr. S.N. Kabra, Chairman of the Governing Council, to begin with the distribution of the awards in the category of overall academic performance and the design studio for the master's program. Requesting Mr. Kabra.
Thank you.
So could you please turn on your camera, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Camera is on.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Camera is on.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for this master's courses, first year MR, Urban Design, for oral academics, Prasida Devi Prasannan Cynthia. Then first year MR, Urban Conservation, oral academics, Kolwadkar Shalika Swapnil. Then first year MR, Urban Design, Pade Chinmay Srikanth Manusha. First year MR, Urban Conservation, Pandya Juhi Mukesh Tripti. Then there are the studio awards. First year MR, Urban Design, Devi Prasida P. Then Gadre Srivan Vilas. Saxena, second number will be Saxena Mukesh Rabindra and Toshniwal Pushkar Shailesh. Coming to the first year MR Urban Conservation, first is Kolwadkar Shalaka Swapnil, second is Shah Khushbu, Deep Kumar. Then final year MR Urban Design, Pade Chinmay Srikanth Manusha. Second is Patil Sanjana Chandrakant Swapna. And finally, final year MR Urban Conservation. First is Pandya Juhi Mukesh Tripti. And second is Kulkarni Ashwini Anant Anjali. Congratulations to all the award winners. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kabra. I would like to now invite our director, Mr. Manoj Parmar, to begin with the distribution of the award ceremony in the category of overall academics performance and B.G. Bhatt Memorial Award for the Bachelor's program. Requesting Manoj.
Thanks, Kimaya. I would like to announce the overall academics in Bachelor program for the first year architecture is Janavi Saha. For second year architecture, Ambika Lamba. For third year architecture, overall academics, Anushri Joshi. Fourth year architecture, overall academics goes to Drashti Shroff. And fifth year architecture overall academics goes to Sanjana Pandey. Thank you.
Thanks. We now proceed ahead. We now welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Rabindra Vasavda. Rabindra Vasavda graduated in architecture with a degree in first class from the MS University of Baroda in 1965. He had his postgraduate studies in architecture and planning from the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Copenhagen, Denmark in 1974 as a National Scholar of Daninda. As part of this scholarship, he traveled in Europe, UK, and Russia during his studies abroad. His area of interest also includes lightweight structures in architecture and has worked with Dr. Frey Otto at his Institute of Lightweight Structures in Stuttgart, Germany. He has also been an assistant professor to Louis Kahn on his Indian Institute of Management project at Ahmedabad from 1969 till 1973 and later on various extensions at IIMA. He is involved in architectural practice, research, documentation, and academics since 1976. He is one of the senior professionals in the field of architecture with an interest in heritage conservation. He started his teaching career as an assistant professor in School of Architecture, Ahmedabad in 1976. He continued this position till 1986 and then became a visiting faculty till 1998. He was founder professor and head of the postgraduate program in conservation studies at the CEPT University from 2007 to 2014. He has been a senior research fellow at the American Institute of Indian Studies, Center for Archaeology in Varanasi in late 1980 for studies on ASEAN. Since mid-90, he has been a senior research fellow at the German Research Council's Orissa Research Program working on traditions of temple building at Jagannath Puri and Ranpur, a feudatory kingdom near Bhubaneswar in Orissa. Vasavda has been an advisor to National Monuments Authority of the Ministry of Culture and more recently, World Resource Institute, Washington, D.C. I now request Professor Rabindra Vasavda to address the graduates for the academic year 2021.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction. Distinguished members of Governing Council and various committees, the Director, members of the faculty, invited guests, and graduating students. I feel deeply honored to have been invited here to deliver the convocation address to the graduating students. It gives me a great pleasure to address this august gathering at the convocation and share the excitement as well as the somber moment when the graduating students are at the threshold of embarking upon a new phase in their life. We have passed through an unprecedented time since last 2 years due to the pandemic, where the entire global population is affected in all walks of their lives. I'm sure you all must have gone through trying times full of anxiety, and certainly it must have been it must never have been a normal life to pursue your studies and sessional works. But today, all of you are here with a sense of satisfaction to have completed your education, despite all the difficulties that you must have faced. Today is the day for you to remember and rejoice and think ahead and move on in your life with hope for future. The phase of your life at this institute of learning must be exciting, full of desire to acquire proficiency in your selected discipline. You all are very lucky to get into architecture, which is a great discipline. The undergraduate course in architecture and the postgraduate courses in conservation and urban design must have offered you sufficient knowledge base to embark on your further directions. The discipline of architecture inspires you to be highly creative. At the same time, helps you to appreciate its relatedness with almost all the other disciplines of knowledge. As an individual, you all must have started from your young days with your drawing skills to sketch what you see, life around, the nature, and in general, whatever that interests you. Sketching is intuitive to all of us. When we start using another medium to scribble, we sketch what we see and we record as facts around us. As we grow further, we start acquiring knowledge firsthand from the world around us. Our creativity leads us to then imagine ideas, and through tools, toys, blocks, lead us to make an object. This is the first step in our effort to design something. So this is the gradual intuitive evolution of our skills and ability which grow with us. Ideas lead to design as against sketching lead to recording facts. I'm talking about this as it is important to appreciate at this stage how simple intuitive development led you to your further research for skills and knowledge and now getting into architecture. Such influence, such innocence act remain a source of inspiration for all creative individuals. When you translate ideas into design, it requires knowledge of related disciplines, which orients you to the theories of things. The theories emerge from scientific and philosophical understanding related to the laws of physics, human needs, and community associations, and appreciation of nature as that is the fountainhead of inspiration for human life and humanity. In nutshell, understanding about Earth and the world as these two terms encompass the whole idea of living and life. I am sure your journey so far must have been a process of self-learning and aided discourses of theoretical knowledge. The role of your family, your seniors, and your faculty must have been enormous, and all of you at this juncture in your life must remain extremely mindful and grateful to them, and cherish the times and learning and skills you acquired from all. This occasion is also a huge Thanksgiving occasion. Having said all the above, I must now talk about your predicament at this stage when you are at the threshold of embarking on your future careers. This now must be the most overbearing anxiety on your mind. This is once again a time for self-searching, introspection, and finding your own directions from your inner selves. Once again, your insight and expectations from self would help you find your own directions. The discipline you have selected, with all its aspects and linkages to larger fields of knowledge, and its principal objective to realize ideas about built environment, would expect a high level of personal character and high level of professionalism in practice. This is also the most important expectation from you as an emerging professional. It would be most important that the next few years of your life you devote to actual work in a serious architectural practice. This phase must be with serious, dedicated individuals with ethical practice. This can offer you some insights about the profession and the way projects are realized, providing you proper understanding and experience about the practical aspects of dealing with various stages of work and its constructional implications in realizing the architectural design. This is very important for you, for your fuller growth, as an individual in such creative field. One needs to get exposed to all aspects of understanding the context, physical as well as cultural, for human requirements, to developing conceptual ideas and then interpreting those for designs with contemporary technology and crafts that are involved in an act of building. Considering this, the role of an architect is very crucial as an agent of change, as his works deal with organizing and ordering the built environment through his works, which are expressions of his innate ability towards correctly defining the built environment, expressing the cultural identity of people in a contemporary society. For this reason, responsibility of an architect's own preparedness to function in a society presupposes a level of creativity and individual awareness which enables him to play his role with a sense of integrity and diligence. Thus, in all cultures, globally and historically, an architect's role and his character are elaborately discussed for the quality that he must possess. I'm not going to get into these details, as you must have known these from your years at the Institute, but I just want to remind you all that from the earliest times to the present, classical writings in all cultures have elaborately written on training of an architect, the ethos to which he needs to subscribe, and the values he has to adhere to in his works and his philosophy of life. Architectural expression in our context, as we understand, our trade for has its history only from 18th century British colonial period. This led to establishing training and later educational institutions based on Western models during early 20th century by the British architects during colonial period. Although our traditions of master builders are an ancient one and is an ongoing evolving tradition of endogenous, extremely rich regional architecture in India, this being a tradition more tied to the family lineage was passed from generation to generation from family lineage mostly. The associated crafts traditions were also similar, but these never resulted into any organized teacher-taught schooling, as each generation learned from apprenticeship and the theoretical knowledge was learned by joining the processes of working with hands and tools on chosen material used for crafts and construction. The master builder acquired the knowledge of texts by his own learnings of texts from teachers, and he controlled the entire process of design as interpreted from classical texts and passed on the instructions to the masons and craftsmen. There are very strict hierarchy in organizing the entire enterprise for division of labor and skills. Bombay, now Mumbai, has been the cradle of profession since early 20th century. It has been ever since the city of prominent architects in India. The tradition of architectural practice also primarily developed from here, and it also provided directions to set up standards of practice from here, as the Indian Institute of Architects was established here in early 1920s. Architectural profession has developed over decades, and in contemporary times, it has really become a multidisciplinary partnership and teamwork with architects leading the projects. There has been a vast advancement in designing and computer-aided tools. which are now available for drawing and 3D modeling, which has completely changed the attitude to architectural practice. Technological developments in construction material handling and project management have revolutionized the entire building industry. And it is within this contemporary scenario that you all must now position yourselves. While these new approaches have advantages as well as drawbacks, the demand for speed in achieving results have compelled the use of these contemporary methods and processes. There is also a growing trend towards ecological approach and energy conscious design practices, as now there is an increasing pressure to follow the standards for efficiency and safeguards for climate change and energy conservation in building design. Since last 4 decades or so, there is a growing concern in architectural practice towards historic building restoration and heritage conservation. It is same for the field of urban design. Though both this special emphasis emerges from the basic discipline of architecture, there is a tendency to derive special approach in one's own architectural practice, as the nature of projects differ. This has brought about some variations in architectural practice where the process of project work differs. I must mention here that with proliferation of architectural education in India, with schools touching close to 500 in numbers, there is growing need for faculty all over, and young architects with postgraduate qualifications get attracted to find easy employment. In my view, before entering academics, it is always advisable to wait and obtain proper exposure to architectural practice. Our times were very different when we graduated way back in 60s. But our head of the department, when we graduated, advised us not to enter any academic institution to teach before spending 10 years work in a good practice. This was very important as one gets a better understanding of the profession. Architecture as a profession is full of struggle. It is not easy to follow as it involves a team of other professionals which the architect must deal with. It is conditioned by a patron who initiates the project. And his involvement and attitude are what an architect must manage and prevail with his ideas and imaginations for design, which finds meaning for the purpose that the client wants to satisfy. The architect's work becomes highly circumstantial to all these factors, and he must steer his design and his realizations through all the conditions created by the client, architect, contractor, triumvirate. It is important that since the architect is the main creator, he uses his best qualities as an enlightened human being to negotiate between the others and get his desired results as his final realizations. This is a struggle, but an architect must be fully prepared for this. His character, his compassion, humility and respect for others help him in the process, as finally it is his work, which is a creation that is going to make an exemplary record for future. I welcome you all aboard as a senior for a wonderful journey into future of architecture in our country. To involve into debates related to cultural relevance, identity, tradition, and contemporary, and above all, in working towards enriching our biome to make it more sustainable and healthy in future for for all. Best wishes for joy and excitement for the progress. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Vasavda. We will now present the names of the students who are graduating from the Bachelor's and the Master's program.
Mamta, I think the volume is off. Mamta?
Ainsley, is the volume's fine?
No,
Command
it's
is
off.
here.
No, we
we
can't
can't
hear. No, we
No.
can't
Hold
hear.
on a minute. Hold on. I'll
Yes,
reshare.
sure.
Hold on.
Yes.
सुनाई दे रहा है ना सभी?
Could you play it again, Mamta? We'll check.
I'll do that, Kaman.
Sure.
From the start.
Thank you.
Can you hear it now?
Good evening to the trustees of the Upnagar
Yes.
section.
Yes. Just restart it, Mamta. Thank you so much.
Good evening to the trustees of the Upnagar section Mandal, members of the governing council, the academic council, chief guest of the day, Professor Vasavda, my colleagues, presently enrolled students, and most important, the graduating students of the year 2021 of the KRVIA. I'm sure some of you must be surprised to hear me, Jimmy. However, let me tell you, it gives me immense pleasure to take this opportunity not only to welcome you all to this year's online convocation ceremony, but also to see you all step into the professional world after being with us for a good long 5 years. Let me tell you, we sure miss you having around on this auspicious occasion, your smiling faces, your parents, having passed this enormous milestone in your life. However, let me tell you that you are as close to us through this online medium as you would have been with your presence, considering we have spent such wonderful times together prior to this pandemic in your formative years. As I take the pleasure to call out your names one by one, this year we've added snapshots of your thesis, considering you'll have put in so much effort in the final year, and in some ways your last identity associated with the KRVIA. However, should time permit and be possible, do on your cameras and wave at us when your name is called out, and not to forget shut it again so that others too get an opportunity to wave at us, considering we all are here looking out for you. Till we meet again in person, which we plan to do so at the earliest, may I congratulate the following students to have graduated in the academic year of 2021 from the KRVIA under the Mumbai University. Shreya Bansal, Decoding Responsive, Jaipur as a Simulator. Shubhankar Bhajekar, Ladakh, Livelihoods and Identity. Meher Bhatia, Keep Talking, an attempt to commemorate, reconcile and initiate conversations around the partition of India in 1947. Kajal Chaudhary, Waste and the City, a Case of Jalgaon. Shweta Chawda, Kumbharwada, a Home of Desire. Mokshit Deria, Artificial Intelligence and Architecture, Enabling Freedom and Dignity. Devna Desai, Experiencing Movement, a take on universal accessibility. Shweta Doshi, Wastegapes, Rethinking the Spaces of Waste Management. Abhishek Gajam, Identity of the Goans. Yashvi Gala, Architecture and Emotions. Dead Spaces in Urban Cities. Drishti Gandhi, Beyond Art and Aestheticization. Understanding Urban Revival through Participatory Art Practices in Mumbai. Vaishnavi Gondane, Bridging Identities, Spatial Identities of Neo-Buddhists. Amruta Halpekar, White Elephants and Democracy. Ashlesha Howell, Rethinking Work and Living, a new housing typology for the millennials of the city. Jadhav, Reviving Public Transportation Infrastructure through ecosystems around it. Yash Jadhav, The Two Lenses of Art. Sanskriti Jain, Designing the Urban. Anuja Jain, Within, Around and
5
Beyond.
minutes more.
Experiment with
Yeah, good you slept. Good you slept.
that got up. Case of Pushpa. Pragya Jain, Covered Knee Vartao, Reviving the Art of Story. Shalaka Joshi, A Space for All, Gender Minority in Public Realm. Karthik Juvekar, Democratic Design, Collaborative User-Centric Spacemaking. Swarali Kadam, Reimagining the Idea of Interment, Preserving the Memory of Dead Worli, Mumbai. Sakshi Kajave, Vaikhala Market Precinct, A Changing Narrative. Shita Kohli, Education for All, Education by All. Akshi Kumar, Mixed-Use Housing for the Lens of Hedonistic Sustainability in the Neighborhoods of Pranal Mahadik, Flood Resilient Mumbai, Intervening along Mumbai's lifeline and mills of the city. Keur Mehta, Identity, Culture and Relevance. Meet Manpara, Beyond the School Walls, Inclusive Environments for Lifelong Learning. Jai Nayak, River in the City, The New Landscape. Vishita Nanda, Reviving of a Legacy, Case of Tharayas of Chandyala Guru Amritsar. Ashna Negandhi, Resilience in Biomimicry. Sanjana Pandey, Mat Space. Charvi Parekh, Children and the City. Priyal Parekh, Transit to Reintegration, Rehabilitation and Reintegration of Sex Workers. Asti Parmar, Town, the Edge, the River, the Architecture of Hiral Parmar, Kutch, Revival of Folk Music. Krishna Parmar, Body, Festival and City. Understanding Temporal Spaces and the city of Baroda. Roshni Patil, community resilience along the coastal edge of Mud Island. Asmita Patnaik, constructing Idomia. Palak Podar, recovery of a scarf. Mirati Rana, ghost of the city's past, a case of Pushkar roses. Karina Sangvi, religion and tourism, a case of Ranakpur Jain temple. Saili Sangore, slowness and the city. Jeenal Shah, reimagining ideas of space, student and rental lifestyle. Ishtisha, understanding disability, a multi-scalar demonstration of inclusive spaces. Saivi Shah, socializing on reconstructed landscape. Tanvi Shah, Sitopia, integrating agriculture into urban fabric. HP Sheikh, work and home towards a spatial understanding. Adhika Soni, healing space, a place beyond stigma. Shreyan Surana, pursuing boundaries. Shikhar Tajane, to agglomerate coolies at Harnyai village. Sohantari, health and architecture. Savli Tikle, between space and identities. Rashmi Verma, People's Media and Alternate Media Network through the postal infrastructure. Rutuja Vartak, the changing Milau, co-housing architecture of non-normative households in Mumbai. Rajvi Anandpara, acts of collective memory, a case of local Gandhi Museum. Navid Badre, sensory healing through architecture. Bali, inhabiting wetness, resilience through negotiations. Manthan Bakwal, Rutopia towards sustainable farming systems. Yash Bokade, city transit and spaces. Manish Chauhan, Rashi Dave, peripheries and collective ecosystems. Aishwarya Dharmapurkar, image making and the city, a narrative of Sumik Dhole, confronting informality, bridging the gap between the vendors and the government. Naitik Gala, rethinking the factory, creating opportunities, a case of reviving mill lands of Mumbai. Yash Gorecha, a dead mall's fantasy. Prajakta Gosavi, women in public realm, enabling inclusiveness through architecture. Viraj Joshi, waste a resource, an alternative approach to waste management in Mumbai. Bretvat Kelkar, the housing typologies of untenable terrains. Palak Kiveshwara, ephemeral ways and exploration of temporary architecture. Ishita Kishore, lost identities, livelihoods and ecology, a case of Goa. Nishi Modi, a case of Pune Smart City, quality of life as a dimension to smart city plan. Abhishek Narkar, milk processing, architecture of nomads, protecting pastoral livelihoods. Shreya Rajmane, people, water and landscapes. Divya Rajput, Architecture of Environmental Stewardship. Harshali Rani, reimagining the notion of resettlement through community architecture. Somil Sangvi, the Mumbai Skywalk Project. Shruti Segal, the Great Rearrangement. Anuja Shah, De-stressing with Nature. Srushti Shah, Ghetto and the City. Ashish Singh, Hijras and the City. Meerat Sutaria, Pilwai, Reimagining District Education. With this, I bring an end to the names of students who have graduated in the year 2021, both March and October. I wish them all very best for the near future. It has been a pleasure. Do feel free to be at college whenever possible. We are always there for you. I now urge Aradhana to take up the names of the graduating students from the master's sitting students from the master's course. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. I, Aradhana, once again like to welcome you all for the convocation ceremony of Masters in Architecture, Urban Design and Urban Conservation for the academic year 2021-22. Today, I feel honored to announce the names of my fellow friends and juniors who I have seen entering into this college as students. And today you all will be stepping out into the world full of new experiences. This is not the end of something, but the beginning. With this, I would like to begin the convocation for the Masters in Architecture, Urban Design students. Shubham Badole, Reactivating Urban Open Spaces for Socio-Ecological Resilience. Anubhav Borgohain, Sacred Spaces, Electronic Places, a hybrid methodology to read and design for historic urban religious precincts. Tanvi Dabir, Transactional Spaces within Post-Metropolis, Sociability in the Public Realm, Case of Pune. Prathamesh Deshpande, Socio-Cultural Emergence and Changing Realities within the Public Realm of the Cities, an inquiry towards community resilience within the city. Shaunak Kulkarni, Developing Temporary Urban Commons by Making Land Uses Floating. Disha Kuchekar, Making the Invisible Visible, a case of migrant laborers in Indore city. Sakshi Mahadik, Establishing a Future Trajectory to ensure resilience in hinterland of Satara city through the approach of ecological urbanism. Rugveda Marshikar, Integrating Natural System of the River in Urban Environment, a case of Morna River, Akola. Saili Muzumdar, Understanding the Notion of Social Spaces within Market Streets. Chinmay Pade, Examining the Role of Quasi-Formal Settlements in the Spatial Growth of Tier 2 Cities, a case of Gunthewari Layouts in Aurangabad. Vishveshwari Pardeshi, Exploring Biophilic Urbanism, Proposing New Imagination of Nature and Human Relationship. Sanjana Patil, Community Regeneration through Urban Form of Streets, a case of Kalyan. Julie Puri, Role of Ecosystem Services in the Spatial Planning of Peri-urban Areas. Pranita Kamble, Understanding and Developing Framework for Spaces in Urban Neighborhood through the Lens of Environmental Psychology, a case of Thane. Alex Mohan, Strengthening Informal Livelihood in Public Spaces. Pratiksha Mundi, Rethinking the Exemplar of Smart City Model through Social Ecological Assimilation, Rushali Vagdare, Changing Nature of Public Realm and its Role in Urban Transformation. Now we begin with Masters in Architecture, Urban Conservation. Gargi Baliga, Everyday Urbanism as a Tool to Conserve Historic Places. Aishwarya Chauhan, Changing Identities of Ancient Trade Centers, Case of Junnar. Rasika Haval, Shaping Identity of Tier 2 City through Collective Memory, a case of historic city of Kolhapur. Pratik Zadhav, Urban Regeneration in the Historic Core of Nashik, case of Saraf Bazar. Purva Joshi, Integration of Urban Ecological Heritage in Everyday Life, a case of forts in Mumbai. Ashwini Kulkarni, Opportunities in the Historic Core of Pilgrim Towns, case of Pandharpur. Samruddhi Mahale, Proposal for Conservation of Sacred Religious Heritage, Shirdi. Chinmay Marathe, Strengthening Special Dimension of Landscape and Culture, case of Nashik. Juhi Pandya, Reviving the Historic Identity of Lesser Known Town Sihor. Ketki Mahaskar, An Approach to Conservation of Cantonments as Historic Urban Landscape, case of Pune Cantonment. Manish Sharma, Urban Act, a digital approach to augment, conserve and transform urban heritage. Congratulations to all the graduates and all the best for your future endeavors. Welcome to the real world. You're going to love it.
Thank you. And once again, congratulations to all the graduates. We will now present, with this I would like to call upon Aishwarya Padmanabhan, Assistant Professor, for the vote of thanks.
Kima, we have to play the testimonials.
Okay, sure.
And share the certificate which they'll be receiving, Mamta, please.
Yeah.
Okay. So first we'll play the testimonial. So Mamta, could you just help us with the testimonial?
Yes, Kima. This is the certificate that the students will be receiving from the University of Mumbai.
Good evening, dignitaries, trustees, faculty members, friends, and fellow graduates. I am Srushti Shah, and I'm honored to be speaking today before all of you on behalf of the BR class of 2021 and reflect on our collective journey at the KRVIA. It's been a rather long, perhaps exhausting, and not always fun, but fruitful and rewarding 5 years. But if I were to think of one word to describe its trajectory, it would surely be unprecedented. Unprecedented is defined as never done or more. I'm sure all of you have heard this word countless times in the last 2 years, instantly reminding you of COVID. But here, I intend to use this word to describe all of us. We are unprecedented, unparalleled, extraordinary. We were thrown into this thunderstorm of uncertainty and irregularities throughout the year, but we fought through it in ways that we could have never imagined. Although completely new and unknown educational forms were rapidly introduced to us, we managed to show the adaptability and perseverance that our times demanded. From quarantines and managing thesis juries, being sick for weeks and trying to push deadlines, going on masked site visits, to distance learning, and well, never fighting for that fifth-year studio corner table, and never really pinning up the last panel of our undergrad journey, we have looked out for each other at every step. We've seen it all and in our own little unique way created history. But during these times is when we all realized how fragile normality is and how we cannot even take simple things like study trips, exchange programs, encounters, offline juries, or let alone lazing around in the canteen for granted. Because now, as they say, it all lies in the times of pre-COVID. I'm sure it has made us all cherish the small yet important bits of our journey at the KRVIA, the institution that we are now a proud alumni of. The institution that has always taught us to not be afraid to push the boundaries. The institution that has today transformed us into the citizens of the world that are able to adapt to critical circumstances and provide solutions to humanity's grand challenges, sometimes by building and sometimes by not building at all. The faculty and staff members so approachable that have been a more so equal part of this process and seen us expand our knowledge and vision beyond the walls of the school. You perhaps might find another batch to teach after us, but I'm sure we wouldn't find another bunch because it was you who envisioned in us theorists, researchers, activists, teachers, and practitioners of the future. I take this moment to thank the institution and its faculty members for molding us into the architects, or more importantly, the citizens that we are today. Through these 5 years at the KRVIA, we have grown. So congratulations to all of us. Well, this is not the end. It is rather the beginning of a new, perhaps even more exciting and unprecedented journey. Who knows what tomorrow may bring to us all? Who can even predict how normality will look like in the future? So if there's one little thing that I'd like you to take along, it's this. We are capable of taking on any obstacle that may lie our way. To the class of 2021, behind the screens, I hope I've managed to share with you our story, something that I would like to call unprecedented. Thank you.
I will now play the master's testimonial, testimonial from the master's student.
Mamta, we can't hear.
I'll reshare, ma'am.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Good evening to all the dignitaries, faculty, and my fellow graduates and postgraduates. I am Tanvi Dabir, representing KRVIA's Masters in Urban Design and Urban Conservation, batch of 2019-2021. I feel honored that the organizers for today's event and my batchmates have faith in me to represent them on this occasion of our convocation. Today was supposed to be the moment all of us could gather together in person. A day when we could meet beyond our screens and be able to stand together once again. Circumstances have prevented us from doing so. Just for these few minutes, let's forget that we are sitting at multiple places in front of screens and imagine us gathered at Cafe Asmi Park, eagerly awaiting to hold our degrees. Let me start by reminiscing about our first day at the Master's AV room. I can still remember the confusion on everyone's faces of being asked to go on our different sites, Vasai, Mumra and Diva, within an hour of the faculty introducing them to us. That's when I realized Masters is all about taking immediate action and diving into the subject before learning how to swim. Data collection and site visits were not new for any of us. Yet, the approach towards site at KRVIA has taught us a lot. when we as architects can get a grandiose idea of design, the wonderful faculty here encourage us to question its intent, its necessity, its benefactors and beneficiaries. They have truly pushed us to look beyond the other side of architecture. Through figuring out the Mumbai local, living in college for the better half of the 8 odd months we could in person, exploring the city whenever we could, those random trips to Juhu Beach, and practically living off the chaat thela just outside college, we really came together as a batch. After shifting onto the online medium and fumbling through the various virtual platforms, we have managed to stick together. The virtual meetups, official discussions for our thesis, keeping each other awake through the random phone calls before submissions, and the ever present "can you hear me? Can you see my screen?" We bolstered each other through the pandemic. Though 2 years is a short time, I'm sure a lot of us have found lifelong friendships in this batch. Any institution is only as good as its teachers. We can see that the faculty here is dedicated to bring out the best in each of us through their encouragement to pursue our individual interests by bringing in their varied experiences to broaden the subjects and, of course, to tirelessly be after us to complete our submissions. I would be remiss to not mention their efforts of trading the studios for a world of black screens. Their dedication during virtual college was and still is commendable, for which we are grateful. We have definitely grown together in these 2 years, even beyond the 5 we spent becoming architects. Through the workshops, exchange programs, study trips, explorations of the layered Mumbai metropolis, the institution has given us multiple opportunities to look beyond. With the course geared towards research first, we were able to look past the build and explore the intangible connections that weave the fabric of the build. I would like to thank the institution on behalf of my fellow alumni for reinforcing our critical thinking for understanding cities that will definitely set us apart as professionals. We have expanded as researchers, as thinkers, as critics, as academicians, and above all as people within this short time. I implore everyone to remember the efforts, the sleepless nights at the college, the juries, the requests for extended deadlines, and the endless days we spent working on our thesis that has led to us virtually gathering here on this day, the 12th of February 2022. Remember that you are and will forever be the alumni of this institution, which helped you go beyond your limits to call yourself a master of architecture. I would once again like to thank the organizers for giving me a few moments to gather my thoughts. Thank you everyone for listening and hope that we will meet beyond our screens. Heartiest congratulations to the graduates and the postgraduates. I wish everyone all the very best for their future and hope to see everyone shine. Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you for the testimonial, students. With this, I would like to call upon Aishwarya Padmanabhan, Assistant Professor, for the vote of thanks. Over to you, Aishwarya.
Thank you, Kamaya. You know, it's been a truly virtual convocation just by looking at the number of claps on your screen through in the form of emoticons. And I'm sure they are as enthusiastic as the ones you will hear in an auditorium. But with this, I would like to commence the vote of thanks. The past 2 days have been truly eventful, built up by the invigorating conversations around various thematic concerns of the architectural and urban discourse as it stands today. This event wouldn't have been possible without the efforts and the support of so many people whom I would like to thank. I would like to start by thanking our guest of honor, Professor Rabindra Vasavda, for his kind and encouraging words to our graduating students, the members of the Upanagar Shikshan Mandal, the Governing Council, the College Development Committee, members of the Academic Council, all of whom are instrumental in the growth of our institute. I would like to thank the KRVIA faculty body who have worked arduously to organize and run the show. The Student Council have been ever so supportive and are responsible for all the posters and the backdrops you see today over the past 2 days. I would like to thank the KRVI administration staff for their continuous support. I would like to extend a special thanks to all the graduating students. Your journey begins here. I'd finally like to thank our current students of KRVIA, parents, and esteemed guests for being here with us. In a manner of culminating the vote of thanks, I would like to switch to my Tamilian side and say the final Nandri Vanakkam. May you all have a lovely evening ahead. Now, I request everyone to please stand up for the national anthem. Mamta?
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड
Okay, hold on. I'll just play it. Sure. No, Mamta. Mamta, we can't hear. Okay, I'll just try another way. Okay, sure. Okay. Yes, Kima.
So thank you everyone. We now end our convocation ceremony here. Have a very good evening.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all very much.
Bye.
Thank you, Professor Vasavda.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it has been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure listening.
Listening to your talk. Thank you very much.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.